Welcome to Zenith History. In today's video, we're diving into the life of one of the most legendary figures in history, Alexander the Great. Known as one of the greatest military commanders of all time, Alexander built one of the largest empires the world has ever seen, all by the age of 32. His conquests reshaped the ancient world, blending cultures, founding cities, and leaving a legacy that would influence generations to come. But who was Alexander the Great? What drove him to such incredible heights? And how did he manage to conquer so much in such a short time? Let's explore the rise of Alexander the Great, the conqueror who built an empire. To understand Alexander's greatness, we first need to look at his roots. Born in 356 BCE in the ancient kingdom of Macedonia, Alexander was the son of King Philip II and Queen Olympias. From a young age, Alexander was groomed for greatness. He was tutored by none other than the philosopher Aristotle, who instilled in him a love for knowledge, philosophy, and culture. But Alexander wasn't just a scholar, he was also a warrior. His father, King Philip, had transformed Macedonia into a powerful military state, and Alexander learned firsthand the art of war and strategy from one of the most brilliant commanders of the time. When Philip was assassinated in 336 BCE, Alexander, only 20 years old, ascended to the throne. Despite his youth, he wasted no time consolidating his power. Alexander quickly crushed internal rebellions and secured his place as the undisputed ruler of Macedonia. But he wasn't content to rule over a single kingdom. Alexander had far greater ambitions. He wanted to conquer the known world. In 334 BCE, Alexander launched his campaign against the mighty Persian Empire, which was, at the time, the largest empire in the world. Leading a relatively small but highly trained and disciplined army, Alexander set out to accomplish what seemed impossible, overthrowing the Persian king, Darius III. His first major victory came at the Battle of the Granicus River, where Alexander's forces decisively defeated the Persians, opening the door to Asia Minor. From there, Alexander's campaign of conquest began to gather momentum. One of Alexander's greatest strengths was his ability to adapt his strategies to different terrains and enemies. At the Battle of Issus in 333 BCE, Alexander faced King Darius III himself. Outnumbered and facing a vast Persian army, Alexander employed brilliant tactics, using the terrain to his advantage and personally leading the cavalry charge that broke through the Persian lines. Darius fled the battlefield, leaving his family and treasure behind. This victory sent shockwaves through the ancient world. Alexander was no longer just a young king, but a force to be reckoned with. Following his victories, Alexander marched south, where he famously laid siege to the heavily fortified city of Tyre. For 7 months, Alexander's army built a causeway to reach the island city, demonstrating both his determination and military ingenuity. After capturing Tyre, Alexander continued his march through Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator and even declared a pharaoh. In Egypt, he founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a major center of culture, trade, and learning for centuries to come. But Alexander's ultimate goal was the heart of the Persian Empire. In 331 BCE, he faced Darius again at the Battle of Gaugamela, one of the most decisive battles in ancient history. Once again, Alexander's tactical brilliance and the discipline of his troops overwhelmed the larger Persian army. Darius fled, and shortly after, he was assassinated by his own men. With Darius dead, Alexander was now the king of the Persian Empire, having conquered the vast territories that stretched from Greece to India. Alexander's conquests didn't stop there. He pushed further east, venturing into Central Asia and even reaching the edges of India. In 326 BCE, Alexander faced his most formidable enemy, yet King Porus of the Punjab. The Battle of the Hydaspes was fierce, with Porus's war elephants posing a new challenge for Alexander's army. However, Alexander's forces prevailed and, in a show of respect, he allowed Porus to continue ruling his kingdom under Macedonian oversight. At the height of his power, Alexander's empire stretched over 3,000 miles, encompassing Greece, Egypt, Persia, and parts of India. But it wasn't just his military prowess that made him great. Alexander was a visionary who sought to unite the cultures of the East and West. He encouraged the blending of Greek and Persian customs, promoted intermarriage between his soldiers and local women, and founded numerous cities that became cultural melting pots. His desire to create a fusion of cultures was revolutionary for the time and would have lasting effects on the regions he conquered. However, Alexander's relentless ambition came at a cost. His army, worn out from years of campaigning, began to grow weary. After years of conquering, they mutinied at the banks of the Hephaestus River, refusing to march further into India. Alexander was forced to turn back, but his return journey was far from easy. He led his army through the harsh desert of Gedrosia, where many of his soldiers perished. In 323 BCE, just a few years after his return to Babylon, Alexander fell seriously ill. Speculation surrounds the cause of his death, with theories ranging from poisoning to typhoid fever. On June 10, 323 BCE, Alexander the Great died at the age of 32, leaving behind an empire that would soon fracture without his leadership. Although Alexander's empire crumbled after his death, his legacy endured. He spread Greek culture across the known world, ushering in the Hellenistic age. His conquests influenced everything from language and architecture to science and philosophy. Alexander became a symbol of unrelenting ambition, a man who pursued greatness at any cost. His name is still synonymous with power, conquest, and military genius. But Alexander's story raises many questions. Was he a hero or a ruthless conqueror? A visionary or a tyrant? His legacy is complex, and while his accomplishments are undeniable, so too are the costs of his ambitions, both to his own people and to those he conquered. So, what do you think of Alexander the Great? Was he truly the greatest conqueror in history, or did his ambition lead to unnecessary destruction? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the life and legacy of Alexander the Great, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zenith History for more epic stories from history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.